Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're just going to get started. We're going to dive right into Portland Cocktail Week Campari Community Holiday Celebration. I think we're calling it a seasonal celebration, a festivus for the rest. I don't know. Is that what it is? I never watched Seinfeld, so I don't actually know what festivus is, but apparently it's a thing. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Anne Louise Marquis. I'm sort of the MC today, whatever time it is, whatever time zone you're in. And with me, I have our incredible team from the Campari community, along with some very special guests. So I'm actually going to let them introduce themselves because there are so many people, but I will say, please, guests to here today, can you please say your name? Let us know your pronouns if you want. And then give us in 4 words or less what your job is. And I'm going to start with, because she's there on my left, Chelsea.
All right. Hi, I'm Chelsea. My pronouns are they, them. She, her is also acceptable. I'm a consultant based in Baltimore, Maryland, and I'm excited to be here. Happy holidays.
Awesome. Joanne, since I see you over there.
Hey guys, my name is Joanne Street. I am an ambassador for Wild Turkey. I'm based here in Louisville. And I'm also...
You guys are doing a terrible job of this. I mean, 4 words. What do you do? What is your job in 4 words?
Educate, bring people to bourbon. There you go.
Awesome. Next, we have the wonderful Daniel Warlow.
Hello, I'm Daniel Warlow. Let's see, 4 words. I talk about bitters. Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm currently in Brooklyn, New York.
Nice. You have a very festive scene behind you.
Thank you. I just put it together. Some nutcrackers. These are fake candles, and that is a stocking.
Beautiful. I appreciate your commitment to the theme. Mr. Benny Hurwitz.
What's up, y'all? Benny Hurwitz, Wild Turkey Ambassador. And my 4 words, preach the bourbon gospel. Boom. How's that?
Nice. I love it. Mr. Xavier Herit.
Oui. Hello, everyone. I'm a ambassador for Grand Marnier. My happy holidays. My 4 words will be spread the Grand Marnier love. It's 5. Almost.
It's fine. I'll allow it. You got a brand name in there. It's fine. Spread the Grand Marnier love. Awesome. Mr. Bruce Russell.
Hey, y'all. I'm Bruce. I'm the Wild Turkey brand educator. My 4 words would be drink more rye whiskey.
Nice.
Corey James.
Crushed it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Corey James. I'm the brand ambassador for Montelobos and Ancho Reyes. And my 4 words are talk about Mexico a lot. My one true love.
Love it. I love it. Monique Brackett.
Hi, everybody. I'm Monique, and I am the Jamaican Portfolio Brand Ambassador for Appleton Estate. Ray and Nephew White Overproof Rum. Those are my 4 words. Perfect.
Great. I'm into it. Jared.
Hey there, I'm Jared Sadoian, he, him. I'm the general manager at Craigie on Main in Cambridge, Massachusetts. 4 words, jack of all trades.
and a lot of glass polishing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, a lot of glass polishing. And Janae, what about you?
Hi, I'm Janae Williams. I am from New Orleans, Louisiana, but I currently reside in Georgia. I'm a bartender by trade before I start my new job, which I'm very excited about. But I guess my 4 words would be I make cocktails on TikTok because that's all I do.
It's trending right now. I'm getting like all these like kind of curious, like we've known about it for a while, but now like the larger world is starting to be like, hey, what's this thing TikTok? And I'm like, I got it. And we just point them all to you. So thank you for your work. It's very helpful. And I'm Anne Louise. Pronouns are she and her. I think I'm gonna do 5. I'm gonna break my own rule. But lots of presence and presence. That's what I got. Lots of presence and presence. So, okay. So before we dive into the kind of holiday celebration we're going to have today, and we're going to recap an incredible year that we had with Portland Cocktail Week, with our team and these amazing instructors and these 3, our special guests were 3 of our, amazing all-star teachers this year. I wanted to take a moment just because just before I joined the call, I saw the news about Josue. And so I just wanted to take a moment to offer some space to everyone here and also anyone watching, just to take a moment to reflect and to appreciate and send some love to an incredible human being who inspired so many of us and taught so many of us. And I think it's a lot of a shock. It's a lot of shock right now. And I think we're all just kind of adjusting to the news. But I did want to take a moment because the reason I'm in this industry is to be close to people and to find a place where we're able to connect, and that we're a group of people who are love people and love other humans. And that's why we choose to spend so much time with them. And so also this is my church, and this is the place I go when I need connection. So I wanted to offer it to anyone. If you did want to say anything about him or to send some love, I just wanted to offer it out because I know some of you knew him.
Yeah, for sure. I'll jump in. I think like a few of us on here, I met Josue at Camp Runamuck a couple years ago, and he was from Florida. And just one of the things that stood out to me right away, besides his perfectly shaped beard, was that smile right underneath and those perfect teeth. And he never did not have that smile on his face. So I think shortly after Camp Runamuck, like, it opens many doors for people in general. He had moved to LA, where I live. And then we started running into each other a little more often. And like I said, I mean, this guy just had the most warm smile, and he always gave a hug, and, he was always there. And, he had a big personality, a big presence on social media, as we know, and he's certainly going to be missed.
Yeah, I also met Josue at camp, and in this industry, there's a lot of, it's very touch and go when you meet people, but sometimes you just meet people and it's just like, it's such an unforgettable moment just because you just connected so well. And that was kind of me with Josue, I'm sorry. When we met at camp, I remember, I think it was a pool party, and he was kind of like me, kind of not jumping into the craziness right off the bat, and we struck up a conversation. And I just remember being so connected just from the start. And I think the next time I saw him was probably Tails that year, and it was like no time had passed since I saw him. And that's so rare, and especially for me. You connect with somebody and then you see them again during the year at another event, and it's just like you just picked up where you left off. Those things mean so much to me, especially in an industry like this. It's just so special, and that's why. Like, I when we first started talking about it, I was trying not to cry because he wasn't a close friend, but he was a close industry friend. And I just miss him.
Yeah,
it's tough. This year has sucked.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you both for sharing so much. Does anyone else have anything they want to add? Their stories, memories?
I actually, as I was thinking about it, I met him at camp as well. And the interesting part about camp, especially, by the pool, everybody's dressed down a little bit. They're not as not like suit and tie, obviously, by pool. And so met him there. And then I remember I was in DC and I was doing a staff training, and Josue walked in, and for some reason, like, he was there. I don't know what it was. I think it was like a repeal day thing he was in town for. And he walked to the room and yes, the beard came first, but then, like, just so impeccably dressed. And I remember walking up to him and just being like, you are like everything about what you've got, the scarf, the glasses. He was like, oh, thank you so much. Like, it was just like, not even a thing. Because of course I'm well dressed. And then, I got to do my first Portland Cocktail Week distance learning with him when he talked about garnishes. And it was, we're both kind of navigating this new space and new time, especially because this was right in the beginning. And it was just like lovely to get started with that and have that conversation with him. So yes, always a beautiful, big smile and amazing, kind human.
Thank you. I'll say I didn't know him personally, but I went back and looked, and he'd volunteered for our volunteer days here in LA. And I was the fan of him from afar. And I loved the beauty he put into the world and the energy and like the happiness and the passion that he offered. And I know this is a time when people are lonely and or all separated. So I just want everyone to know that like the work you put out into the world is seen. And I hope he knew that, and I hope he knows that and is feeling that love wherever he is right now, that he gave us a lot. And I feel really grateful. And it sounds like you guys feel really grateful to have known him. So let's just take like 10 seconds, just a moment. On the internet feels like forever in the real world. But just take a moment to think of him. And if you're watching, to send your love, whether you knew him or you know someone that loved him. Let's just take a moment. Thank you. Thank you, Josue. And there'll be much more, I'm sure, for him as things come out. But thank you all for being part of that moment as we dive into our session on holiday cheer and connection and building community. So this year, we teamed up with Portland Cocktail Week at the very beginning of the COVID-19 crisis, when everything shut down, and we realized there was this need for connection, for community, for education to continue. We're not going to be able to have festivals. We're not going to be able for people to go to conferences or take classes. And we wanted to move everything onto the internet. So we moved it all into these digital platforms, and Portland Cocktail Week responded so fast with so much energy and so much enthusiasm and such a great cadre of professors and people to teach and experts in a wide range of fields. So we tallied it up and we did 53 sessions with Portland Cocktail Week this year. It's a lot of sessions. It's only been, I think we did it over the course of 9.5 months, 53 sessions. So we have been busy putting out amazing content for everyone up to our team put out where we were doing like 5 things a day for a while, if you guys remember that. Now we're thankfully down to like 2 a week, which is much easier to maintain. But we have been working hard this year. And so we want to have a little bit of a time to reflect and look back on some of our favorite moments. So I'm not going to call on everybody all the time, but if you have like a special thing, just like give me a hand raise or like a wave and I'll make sure I call on you. But this first question is for everybody. I wanted to ask you what your favorite moment of this series with Portland Cocktail Week, what your favorite moment or your favorite interview or something that stood out for you, something that left a lasting impression. And I'm going to, just because I'm going around on my Zoom screen, I'm going to start over actually with Daniel. Daniel, not to put you on the spot, but you're pretty good when I put you on the spot. What was something that stood out to you, something that you loved or made an impression?
I think my favorite one, obviously that wasn't one that I was involved with, was the one about ambidexterity with Alex Jump and Lauren Paler. And I think, like, as a former bartender myself, like, ambidexterity was something that I always had to focus on because I'm not as good at stirring with my left hand or whatever it may be. And so I felt like it was a really good opportunity for people who were stuck at home. They weren't able to like go to the bar and actually work on some of those fine skills. Obviously all of this is about learning, but I thought that was a really, really cool one because you can do it by yourself. You don't have to be in front of people trying to stir with your left hand and then, the spoon flies out of the mixing glass. But I thought that was cool.
Awesome. Joanne is frozen.
For me, am I good? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
For me, I would probably say the session that I wasn't a part of either, but Juneteenth that we did with Brown and Balanced for me was really eye-opening. Growing up where I grew up, we didn't really talk a lot about diversity, and I think this year especially has really made me do a lot of soul searching and a lot of learning and education with myself, and it's really challenged me to truly be better. And that was just such a great day to see all the amazing things that all these amazing people in our community do. And that's just a session that has truly stuck with me since that day.
That was an amazing day. Yeah. Chelsea, and then Benny, you're on deck.
For me, I was like racking my brain about this question because there were just so many great talks and education opportunities this year. My favorite thing though was, in this platform of offering this really accessible, complimentary education to our whole community, there were some really amazing bartender, just like secret skills that came out. Like we had gardeners and we had bakers and we had one of my favorite that I was like, I don't even know where this came from, but I'm here for it, was like brining a turkey. I was like, okay, here we go. Like, this is amazing. And it just shows like how multifaceted our whole industry is. It's just so cool to see, we're not just behind a bar, we're not just pouring drinks. We're not just the booze we peddle. We're human beings with like really random interests and like talents. So it was just really fun to see and connect with everybody on that.
I loved that too. That was one of my favorite things too. Yeah. Okay. I'm not talking about mine yet though. Benny, you're up, and Jared, you're on deck.
Cool. Yeah. So one that I really liked that stood out to me was a little more technique driven, and it actually kind of showed me some stuff that I thought I knew, but I learned a lot more about. And it was with Naomi from New York and Xavier, our Grand Marnier ambassador. And it was about like patience and taking more time, utilizing like kind of old school techniques, like a clarified milk punch, which I found you don't even need to really use cheesecloth or a super bag. And that if you're more patient and you run it through several times, you can literally clarify the entire punch just with the curdles. So I thought that was pretty cool. And the fact that also makes it more shelf stable. And then also in that same session, she made a fruit syrup, which I think we've probably all done, whether we've cooked the fruit in water to extract the flavor and then added sugar. But even when I've done it with sugar and fruit, I always end up adding a little water. And I didn't realize that if the fruit you're using has enough water in it, you don't have to add anything else except the sugar and the fruit, and it makes like the most amazing syrup I've ever tasted. So that was really fun. Those are some things that I'll utilize forever now.
Awesome. Jared, you're up. Monique, you're next.
Yeah, in like a more general sense, and obviously it was all born out of necessity, but just the rapid like pivot and embrace of a different platform, a whole different stream of participating in this sort of like, I guess what is the community now, right? From all of the in-person events that we've enjoyed in the past year to, doing this many times over and seeing many of the same faces at the same streams was really, really cool. And then also, I mean, watching an entire community of bartenders, look at this challenge, back in March or April and saying it's going to be the best use of my time right now is to like invest in my own education or to be able to give back and educate others. And I thought that was both amazing and fun and uplifting.
Thank you. Monique, and then Xavier, you're next.
Well, I definitely, as someone who's new to the brand ambassador community, like Jared, mine was very general, but the Juneteenth one was very impactful for me because, as a person of color in the industry, to be able to see other persons like yourself who are in it and doing it, it was impactful. And as someone who's new to being a brand ambassador, coming from the sales guys, I mean, you guys just educated me. Like in the Caribbean, we call it baptism by fire. Y'all really, literally immersed me in education. I logged on to every single one, just soaking it all up. And it was so important to feel that sense of community, not being able to go out. You know, I'm a people person. So to be able to do it from afar was really fantastic. I think you guys all did a really great job pivoting in the beginning. And it was just fantastic to see all of the content and it not be so all about the cocktail, you know? I think that's what added that element of surprise. And so I really enjoyed a lot of the content overall.
Awesome. Thank you, Monique. Xavier, and then Janae, you're next.
I think on my side, I think Portland Cocktail Week has been very impressive to see how we were able to continue to educate everyone around and make it so accessible. And it's amazing. Before we used to travel to teach people, and now we can all gather together on one platform. And I like to say every classes I've done or watched was very knowledgeable, very interesting. I've learned something. I learned a lot from interviewing Chelsea or Jared, which are right now with us. And there's so many talented people, so it's an inspiration. So I don't have any more favorite than others. I'm just really pleased and impressed with all the classes that Portland Cocktail Week was able to put together this year. So thank you very much, guys. It was awesome.
Thank you. Janae? And then Justin, you're up next.
Emily, I was having audio issues when you were talking before. Can you just repeat your question?
Yeah, no, you're next. So the question is what was your favorite takeaway, your favorite session that you hosted, like something that made you laugh harder than anything else? Like if there was something that was really memorable for you this year during your Portland Cocktail Week, whether it was your session or someone else's.
Okay, mine was great. Let me just start now. Just kidding.
It was great. I was there.
Yours was great.
I think I just want to start by saying I think a lot of people in our industry kind of went two ways when this whole thing went down. They went kind of the way of like, okay, I have a lot of time and I need to figure out what to do at that time. And then there's the people who are like, okay, I have a lot of time, so I'm going to use this time to kind of, hone my craft. And I think the classes were really good at addressing both of those issues. I think my favorite, honestly, and it was a class, and it's because it's a class that I needed, because every time I would go to people for this information, it just wasn't enough, was Josh Seberg's class on infusions. Let me just say, Josh, I love Josh because I met Josh at camp. And every time I see him on social media, he's like dropping knowledge. It's always the knowledge that I need. But I've always had issues with my infusions behind the bar. And I'm not doing as many now because I'm at home. But that's the one thing that I've always wanted to, be a pro at. It's like, how do I infuse flavors, not only in cocktails, but the spirits themselves, And I think his class really, and I need to rewatch it because I need to take more notes, but his class really helped me and kind of, he broke it up by kind of like, compound style. He put science into it, and he broke it down by like style of infusion. It was really informative and I really appreciated that. So that was my favorite.
Oh, that's a good one.
I can't tell you. So I met Josh Seberg when he was a baby bartender. And when I met him in Virginia Beach, and he had never been to a cocktail, he'd never been to Tails, he'd never been to camp. And I take full responsibility and credit for Josh Seberg. So hearing you say that, it makes me so happy to hear that one person's ever taken my advice, and that it's Josh, and he's just, I love to see where he's gone. I'm totally joking. Josh's success is his own, but that to see someone take their passion and turn it into what he's done and what all of you have done, I think I'm hearing over it. It's so exciting to hear. So yes. I just always have to.
Can I just add one thing?
Yeah.
The only thing that he had trouble explaining the infusion of is hot dogs and sandwiches. And I think if he learned how to separate them, then he might be better at it. Just a thought.
Oh boy, that could really derail this whole session. We're just going to go back.
And that's the rest of the hour.
And that's the rest of the hour. Is the hot dog and sandwich? Not doing it today.
We'll never know.
Yeah. Okay, so Jessamine, we'd love to hear from you, and also welcome, Jessamine. Jessamine, we should have you introduce yourself, and then in 4 words, describe what you do.
Okay, so I'm Jessamine McClellan, and I am the Academy lead. Sorry, that was 5.
Academy lead for Campari Academy, and
Yes.
and for Portland Cocktail Week, what was something that stood out to you or something memorable?
Yeah, so I think, obviously, amazing job for all of the people who participated in Portland Cocktail Week's distance learning sessions. I think my main favorite thing or key takeaway is that obviously we have an incredible ambassador team that's all with us here on this call today, but all of the information and the topics and the real technical know-how that was brought to these sessions was entirely crowdsourced. Individual bartenders were inspired enough, like Chelsea and Janae, who are with us today, but everyone else that was out there that did a session, they created that session on their own. That was information that they developed, they researched, and they, did in tandem with us as an ambassador team. And that, I think, is my favorite part, because it's really inspiring to know that our industry is absolutely willing to take charge and grab the reins and really bring our own education and our industry's education, full swing as something that we're all responsible for, and not just people who, have an official education title. So I think that's really amazing that everyone brought that. So amazing job to everybody who did the sessions this year, because I just think everyone benefited from it and we all learned so much. So it's just a testament to our industry.
Awesome, thank you. Corey, and then Bruce, you're going to close us out.
Yeah, I just in general terms, I am just so impressed with the resiliency of our industry and everybody's ability, like Jessamine said, to just off the cuff come up with all of this really amazing content and be inspired by, especially with what's going on right now, be inspired while you're stuck in your damn house all the time. I just am extremely proud to be a part of this industry, and I'm just happy that, we still have it.
We're holding on.
Yeah.
We're like the cat in the hang in there poster. That's us.
But one thing that I did really enjoy was, and it seems so simple, but the session with Camper, with ice, now ever since I did that session with him, now I'm just directional freezing all the time.
It's his favorite topic. He's always going to talk about ice.
Can't stop directional freezing. Just can't.
That's incredible.
He's going to be on his tombstone.
Corey, I love that as you said it, you leaned back and I saw the 6-pack on the Santa.
Oh, yeah.
It was like,
Yes.
Oh, of course.
Just keep that. That is nuts.
Yeah. You're welcome, world.
How many ugly sweaters do you own? I mean, I'm not in any way passing judgment. I'm just saying, as a category of sweater, kind of festive holiday sweater, do you own, Corey?
Well, I have this one, and then my husband has another one. He's Jewish, and it's basically a unicorn, and it says Junicorn.
Wow.
So those are basically the only 2 that we have.
I love it.
You posted a photo of you from years ago with a sweater that said "single and ready to jingle," which I had
to get rid of that one when I got married.
I kind of assumed.
Yeah, I do still have the riding the snowman costume though, that I tend to wear around the house often as a joke. But no, we only have those 2 sweaters.
Fair enough. Okay, that's acceptable. Okay, Bruce, your takeaway, Portland Cocktail Week, distance learning.
Yeah, I think mine's a little bit more selfish because I really enjoyed my session and not because I was a part of it. I did a Thanksgiving session with Papa Larry where he cooked the turkey, and this is the first year in my family that we didn't get to have Thanksgiving, and it was really tough for me. And so to get to do something like that with somebody that I do consider part of my industry family, because if you ask Dad or Jimmy or any of them, we love Larry, he's one of our own. So to get to do that with him, it was like getting to do a Thanksgiving thing with family anyway. And it was something that I probably needed at that time. So selfishly, that was probably my favorite thing this year.
Love that. I love that we found ways throughout the year to find ways to be together, even if we were apart. And that, I think Larry brining a turkey is just such a delightful example of bringing your expertise and your energy and your enthusiasm to this thing, this other part of your life, to share it with people you love. I think for me, I can't pick my favorite thing. I think, so again, I'm breaking my own rules, but I think the word that keeps coming up is resiliency and adaptation, and that watching these people in our world adapt and figure out how to do something new and figure this out online in the actual moment when it needs to happen. That goes for our hosts who put together these our speakers who put together their classes, like Jessamine said, and also to my team who like overnight became internet talk show hosts, like with no warning that was going to happen to them this year. And that has been so special to watch everyone kind of come into themselves in new ways. So congratulations to everybody. And we have 3 of these guests today, but we had 51 other presenters this year join us. And we got to see them in some other part of their life or share some other piece of themselves that I probably haven't seen at a cocktail conference. So that was such a delight, and something that is leaving me really inspired this year. Okay, so I know we sent you questions, and I'm going to ask you some questions that are like not on the question thing, because I'm curious. So I would love to ask Chelsea and Jared and Janae, for you as bartenders who are working like in different ways right now, like you've all had to pivot in some way. What is a takeaway for you about how you had to adapt this year in your business for yourself? And if one of you wants to go first, I don't need, let me know, or I'll call on you.
Sorry, I think for me, so like I said before, I'm originally from New Orleans. I now live in Georgia, technically like Metro Atlanta. So that was a big change for me. And that was a change brought on by, just being quarantined and jobless. So it was kind of, when I moved here, I had to have a conversation with myself and be like, okay, how are we going to introduce ourselves to a new market without any, nobody knows me here. I know people from, industry events and things like that, but really the majority of people don't know me here. So how am I going to present myself? So I, kind of approach that conversation with myself, kind of like, I guess I'll just promote myself in the ways that I know how. So I took to social media, obviously. I started, trying to find ways to, put my expertise out there, but also make it kind of, educational. So I think that's kind of the way I went. Cause like, okay, I'm in a new market and I'm where nobody knows me, and I have to figure out a way to, put a resume, if you will, out there so people know that I know what I'm talking about, but also make it presentable, in a way that's also approachable. Like I had a conversation with somebody yesterday how, LinkedIn doesn't really work for us, so we have to figure out other ways to put, our resume out there, and social media is one of the greatest ways to do that. I know some people, and I don't like support this decision, but I know some high-end bars in New Orleans that won't accept people if they don't have a certain number of followers on Instagram, which is crazy. But that's how it is some places. So I knew social media was an avenue that people actually look at when it comes to the industry. So that's kind of how I took it.
Yeah, and I mean, took it by the horns, and then like, I don't know what else next to say, but like just tackled that and made it yours, like incredibly so. Like you're like everyone's inspiration right now for how to do the internet. So this is, congratulations to you. And also I'm looking forward to see whatever else you do with that moving forward. So incredible. Chelsea or Jared, someone want to go?
Yeah, sure. That Janae's was like such an amazing pivot, and then also just like wildly successful too, which is it was just super cool to see, and then also to hear about. And then thank you for letting us in on some of your secrets. for me, the bar that I was running had to close, and it seems like permanently now. So my pivot was kind of like, okay, so what can I offer, and where can I best sort of utilize what I have to offer. And a former restaurant that I worked for several years, had a GM who was getting married and using that as an inflection point to move on. And so it was this, if it wasn't the circumstances that we're in right now, it would have been a really like fun and interesting puzzle of like, how do you do takeout effectively at a fine dining restaurant, or like, how do you design outdoor dining in a completely different setting with a completely different set of people and whatnot. And it was, it was great and refreshing to be able to kind of be back into like restaurant development mode in like a really, really short time frame. And, we were able to, put at least a handful of folks back to work for a little bit, which was great. So, that is an ongoing process as we head into the winter, but definitely a way that made the last several months fly by pretty fast.
Wow. It's so hard. It's so hard. It's so challenging. It's like, it's a puzzle, but it's like, yes, definitely understand. I've had a front row seat to watching that challenge happen, and man, is it a puzzle. Oh, and Chelsea, what about you? You've had kind of a unique, you're doing so many different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a weird year. So I know some people on here have known me for a while, some people not so much. But I've been a consultant for 5 years, and I've done a lot of big openings, and I've done a lot of small openings, and somewhere over the last 5 years, I've 17 programs that I've had a hand in, which is just like a roller coaster in itself. But then this year happened, and I was, working as the GM and beverage director at the last place that I was consulting for, because my philosophy is kind of like staying on for a little bit and making sure that there's some stabilization, because as we all know, if there isn't like a stabilizing force, at least for a little bit, then it can get rocky. And so when this all happened, I kind of was like, I had put my consulting aside. I was in it for the long haul. And I realized fairly quickly that I cared about my team too much. And that if I stayed on and I kept taking a salary, that my team, that, the leaders that I had lifted up to leadership positions wouldn't necessarily be able to come back to work. And knowing that things were getting cut down and capacity and financials and whatever, I was like, you know what, if I can, pull my salary out of that equation and hopefully give somebody work for a little bit longer, then like, that's what I got to do. And so I, just kind of took the leap and went with it and went back to consulting. And this is also not a great time to be a consultant, in case anybody was wondering. Not a lot of, room in the budget to hire somebody, especially on the outside. So what I ended up doing was kind of these like microservices. And, even if I was working for somebody for a couple hours over the month, just like organizing their inventory, playing with spreadsheets, because it's like my favorite thing in the world. It was my way of just saying, like, I'm here for a couple hours to just like give you my all and like make sure that you are set up for success. And I leaned really heavily, and this was a great vehicle to do so, really heavily into education, because I didn't have a lot of people in my coming up who were willing to invest in me. And it's been my mission since to make sure that I was giving all education that I could back to my community. So I got to teach 2 classes for Portland Cocktail Week this year, and that was amazing, and on 2 very different subjects. And my mission now is like, I'm going to do whatever makes sense. But the moral of the story is that this industry has to get better for everyone. And I'm here to help make that happen in whatever it's going to take. So it's a long story to say, yeah, my life's totally different. Thanks, 2020.
Behind the entire hospitality industry. Yes. And Chelsea. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you both, all three of you, for sharing those stories that are wildly different. You had wildly different approaches to how you're going to solve the problem, but you're all solving it, and you're also solving it every day. I think we all are watching everyone, everything's being solved in real time. And that's, incredible resilience and also adaptability. So I guess those tie back to those themes of what this year was all about. Looking forward to the future, just a fun question I have for the brand ambassadors. Okay, so looking forward to the future, we have the vaccine. It's not controlled by robots. Like, we do not become like mutant, like, I don't know, whatever the fear is. That doesn't happen. And we're actually able to travel again. Marie says, one time you can pick any city in the country you want to go to for 1 week. Just anywhere you want to go. Where's the city that what's your first, will be the first ticket? Like, I'm going here. What's the first place? And I'm calling on Joanne to start.
New Orleans, hands down. That city has just stolen my heart the past few years, especially because I get to see it outside of Tails and at a lot of different times of the year. I think last year I was in New Orleans like 10 or 11 times throughout the year. But once you actually really get out of the city and into the neighborhoods of New Orleans, and you get to know the people and the culture, it really does just kind of captivate your heart. I've got a ton of great relationships with friends down there. One of my best friends lives down there now, and it's a city that I just honestly cannot get enough of. And I never thought in a million years does kind of have this stereo. There's just so much more that the people, the culture, would not be surprised at all at my answer with that one.
And literally no one was surprised by that. I mean, if you know. Benny, how about you?
Yeah, so, I grew up in Maryland and worked in bars in Washington, D.C. And I moved to LA for this job, and I spent a lot of time in Texas and Chicago, states and cities that I love. But I actually have yet to go back to DC for work. So I would typically be there now for the holidays, but we are staying in LA. And I just haven't actually got to go back there and do my thing in the bars that I just, cut my teeth going to, and all of my friends, and actually go and get to talk about Wild Turkey to them. I think that would be really awesome.
I would like to go with you on that trip, Benny. I don't think I'd be able to keep up, and I think it would be a wild adventure, and I would love to be part of that. So let me know. Monique, where would you go?
I'm going to Miami, baby. Because after all of this snow and all of this cold, I need to go somewhere and thaw out. Go somewhere and get some pastelitos. Get a nice Jamaican beef patty. I just need to go someplace where I can see the beach in the distance. I know Marie's not going to give me a beach day, but I gotta work my toes into the water. But
you get a beach day.
Here I come.
Nice. Love it. I love that there was no question, Miami. Daniel, what about you?
I gotta say, my favorite, assuming all things that you said, that we can walk around, go do what we're gonna do, I would go San Francisco. It's my favorite city to walk from one bar to another bar. It's easily walkable. Everybody's amazing. There's so much history. It's one of those places you just walk down the street and you feel it, and the community there is so awesome. And I don't know, one of my first favorite cities to visit for sure.
Nice. Xavier?
Well, I've been traveling. I've been with Position Grand Marnier for about a year and a half now, and And of course, until we got in pause this year, I started to travel more and more and discover some amazing city, amazing bar communities, and each city is so different but complete each other. Right now, I think I'm joining a lot of people on this call. Like Monique, I would say a bit of sun would be welcome. I could go to Miami, work on my tent. but also New Orleans is such a rich in culture, and the food is delicious, and this lifestyle and walking the street is so beautiful. Also, I'm a big fan of Chicago, but more during the summer than the winter, if I have to decide. but there's very, I think each city really complete each other. I love DC as well, and I would love to continue to travel more, so I can't wait for everything to reopen, definitely, yes.
You didn't choose one, Xavier. You broke the rules.
I'd like to say New Orleans, though.
Okay.
It's culturally
I
very.
was gonna say he's gonna learn how to teleport in 2021, so he can just hit all three cities.
The vaccine
in
will
like
let you
a
do
day.
that. The vaccine lets you do that. It's a whole
Superpower.
thing. It's very exciting, but only for a few. Jessamine, where would you go?
Well, it's interesting because I'm not a brand ambassador anymore. So I haven't had the pleasure of consistent market visits for the last couple of years, which is something that I've actually sorely missed. And I was just thinking, I loved Daniel's answer about San Francisco, because that was actually where I met him as a brand ambassador in his first time in that role. And I do love that city, and I used to live there, but I actually think I would choose Chicago. It was probably one of the cities that I visited the most, and I really loved it. And as soon as I stopped going there, I was like, I miss Chicago. And like, the community there is so amazing, and all of the different bars. There's just so much that it has going for it, and I haven't been there in a really long time. So shout out to the Chicago people. I would come and visit you guys.
Nice. Corey.
I have always been really enamored with New York and the industry there. So I would say New York. First of all, I want to see those restaurants back thriving, the bars kicking and cranking and all of those things. I'd like to kind of go back in time, I suppose. But also I'd like to see Xavier, Mo, Marie, Jessamine. I've been working on this team for almost a year, and I've only been to the Campari office once. So
and we've only hung out one time.
I know, and you live in the same city.
I live in the same city. I know. We should fix that. Do a thing this week. Okay.
Yeah, but I would say New York. New York has always been, in my heart.
We'll take you, Corey.
Yay!
Anytime.
You can stay in my empty apartment.
Yeah. Perfect.
She's still sitting there. Bruce, did I call on you yet? No.
Nope. My answer is probably obvious for some of you. I would go to Austin, Texas. I lived there for almost 5 years. There's a lot of people there I consider close friends and family. And the one like home bar that I have that I can just walk in and I feel like I'm Norman Cheers, it's in Austin too. So I would definitely go back there if I could.
Awesome.
Fun place.
Mine, I'm cheating. I'd go to Paris. I miss it. I miss it. I know. I'm totally kidding. It wasn't part of the rules. I would also, with Jessamine, book a trip to Chicago. I love the industry there. I feel like that city is just like one big hug of happiness of people that I love and love to see. So I would also join you on any of your trips because I love them all. But if I had to choose one, I think my first ticket would be to Chicago. So Jessamine, we can go together.
Sounds good.
So if anyone is watching this, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We've got about 10 minutes left before we wrap up. And I want to make sure if you have any questions for our panel of amazing folks that you may get to ask them. I don't see anything in the question box right now, but if you do have anything, please let me know. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up with some rapid fire questions because I feel like it's weird to only ask some of you things. So hot cocktails. First question, hot cocktails. I'm just going to call on you. You're going to tell me what you're working on, what you're thinking about, what you're dreaming about, hot cocktails related, or no, just hot cocktails related. First up is Mo.
Hot buttered rum, baby.
Delicious. Xavier.
Hot cider with Grand Marnier.
Ooh, a little buttery apple cider. Daniel.
Braulio hot chocolate. So good.
Ooh, I hope this is inspiring everyone to, once this is over, to go make drinks. Joanne. She's on
Probably
delay.
the hot toddy variation that Benny did at Portland Cocktail Week the other year, when the garnish was literally a like cube of butter.
That was good.
And if you know my family, like, butter is a side, not a condiment. Put it on your cookies. The more butter, the better.
Wait, do you like put butter on your cookie?
Yeah, it's a condiment.
St. Joe special.
It's a thing.
Put the cookie in the microwave
cook-
for like 10
You
seconds.
cook with
take it
Crisco
out.
and you use butter as a condiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you guys so skinny?
Yeah, y'all are.
Yeah, what? Yeah, that's
Really?
very, deeply Southern. I don't understand.
Don't hate on it till you try it. Put a cookie in the microwave, take it out, cover the back in butter, get back to us. Just trust
So
me.
you can come over and make this, and then I'm going to watch everything else you eat to figure out how, and I'm going to work out. I'm going to figure this out. Okay, Janae.
Ooh, Joanne stole mine. I really like to make hot toddy kind of like penicillin mixes. So penicillin base with some hot water, and nix the floater. Just a lot of scotch, honey, and ginger.
Jessamine.
I love hot cocktails. I'm not gonna lie, they're probably one of my guilty pleasures. I think it's because I was an Irish whiskey ambassador for so long, so I like basically lived on Irish coffees. But I would actually have to say the thing that I'm currently very into is also hot toddies. So like the greatest thing about the Campari portfolio is like you can have a whiskey toddy, but you can have it be bourbon, you can have it be rye, you can have it be scotch, you can make a toddy with rum. It's just a choose your own adventure of delightfulness. And I think there's just something so warm and soothing about that simple, toddy, sweet spirit, spice, a little citrus. Chef's.
Love it. Jared, what about you? Hot cocktails.
Mulled cider with aromatized wine of all varieties is fantastic.
Delish.
And you
Mulled
can have like
cider.
16 of them without putting yourself to sleep.
Make that an I statement. I can have 16 of them. I can have about 3 of them because everything puts me to sleep. It's clear. Just to be clear. Corey.
I gotta go with hot chocolate again. And obviously with both Montelobos and Anchorays in them.
I think we're gonna have those. I think we're gonna sit outside. You're gonna bring 2 coffee cups. And that's what we're gonna drink. That sounds delicious.
Delish.
Bruce, what about you? Hot cocktails.
I actually don't like hot toddies because one side of my family used that growing up as like medicine. My granddad's like, on my mom's side, is that old school. So I think of it as medicine. So I'm way more of like a hot chocolate and whiskey or hot chocolate and something else type of person.
Delish.
Bruce, I think you want us to feel bad for you, but we don't.
Yeah, none of us feel bad, but I'm also gonna like
Listen,
gloss over that just
Yeah.
because, just for legal reasons. We're not gonna dive deep into that right now, but I have questions for later. Benny.
So Jessamine briefly mentioned Irish coffee. And if you make it like they do at that classic bar in San Francisco, I'll take mine with some Long Branch.
Yeah.
But yeah, just because, the Irish whiskeys that are typically used in those it's like, triple distilled, a little lighter style of whiskey. And I think Long Branch can kind of fill that spot pretty nicely. And it's just, I just like a nice dark roasty coffee with the Demerara sugar and the unsweetened kind of crisp, clean cream that floats on top.
So
Yeah.
good. Nothing's
Dangerous.
better. Oh, nothing's better than like the cold cream and the hot coffee together.
Guys, it's too much.
Exactly.
God.
Exactly.
Chelsea.
Well, for our holiday gifts this year, we did like a pretty intense whiskey infusion and made hot toddy kits for our friends and family. So I will say we did some wild turkey with roasted pears and vanilla bean and cinnamon with a rosemary simple syrup that we sent out.
Oh.
Can we get on this
Wow.
list? Is this like a thing?
Is someone taking notes?
yeah, can we put that on the calendar?
But I also will say that I never like orange and chocolate together unless it's putting Grand Marnier in my hot chocolate.
Yes.
And Bear agrees.
For you.
Oh, I love that. I would say I'm going to go with Jared on the mold. I'm going to go mulled wine with Grand Marnier in it. Because I love a mulled wine and you can only drink it this time of year because otherwise it's weird and it's so good. So mulled wine would be my hot drink. Okay, last question of the day. We don't have any questions popping up in the comments. So I'm just gonna make sure. Okay, so my last question of the day before we close this down. Last night was the solstice, or yesterday was the solstice. So now we're going to move, and the celebration of the solstice is moving into the light. So now the days are going to finally start getting longer, and we're going to get more sunshine. And so as we welcome the light, what is that like? What are you welcoming more of? This isn't a resolution. It's not your intention necessarily for the new year. It maybe could be like a hope or a dream, but like, what are you looking to like invite more of into your life? It could be cocktails. It could be personal, as personal as you want to get. In just a few words, kind of the rapid fire like we just did. What are you looking to bring more of into your life in 2021? And I'm going to go around back in the same circle again. So Joanne, if you don't mind going first.
Hugs. That's it. Just
Perfect.
Hugs, man. I'm an affectionate person and that's like how I feel my love. So I can't wait to just hug people and like be around one another again. Seeing everybody on Zoom is always really nice and like maintains that connection. But you know, I actually like hanging out with you guys in person too sometimes. So I'm definitely looking forward to that in 2021.
Sometimes.
And sometimes everyone can go away.
Most days.
Daniel, what about you? What are you welcoming more into?
Well, I once had somebody's dad tell me that the thing that he wanted more of was everybody's time. And I didn't really understand it at the moment. And this year has definitely made it very, very apparent to me that the thing that we don't have any more of, that we can't get any more of, is time. And the thing that we tend to squander is time with one another, and the time to sit and actually have a conversation and actually learn about it with each other and have a real conversation. So I think moving forward, I think I'm gonna take as much time as I can with the people that are in front of me, be present, and just enjoy what we can.
Nice. Monique.
Quality time and connection. I mean, this year definitely kind of brought us back to foundation of who's important, what's important, and when is it important. And so for me, I, especially with family living so far away, I really am going to cherish getting back on a plane and going to the Caribbean and hugging my family, seeing my mom. So yeah, for me, connection and quality time, I need it in 2021.
Nice. Xavier.
I'm not sure if I understand your question. If it was longer days, I would say longer French aperitif and eating dinner very late.
That actually totally answers the question. That's perfect. I don't think you need to change it. More food, more time together, more drinking, like light, delicious drinks. That sounds great.
And most important thing I miss the most, sit down at the bar counter. I miss sitting down at the bar counter.
Yeah. Who's had like a moment where they've like freaked out and been like, I just want to go to a bar?
Yes.
Everybody raise your hand.
Or just sit at a bar, not like a table.
No.
Like
I just want to sit
at
at
an
a
actual bar.
I just want to sit at a
Yeah,
bar.
not a table.
Just want to sit at a bar. Yeah.
I feel like I don't know how to conversate at a table. I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Facing you, it's weird. Okay, Janae, what about you? What are you welcoming more of into your life in 2021?
I'm going the opposite direction. I don't want to be around more people. I actually would just want to be by myself because I don't know if most of you know, I am a mother. I'm a 1.5-year-old, and that is a lot of time given to a little person who doesn't respect my boundaries. So I would love some solidarity / productivity, because I know as soon as I get some time alone, I can be productive, and that is really what I want, is to just get stuff done.
Nice. Jasmine.
Well, first of all, it's Capricorn season now, so
Productivity time.
This is my time. But I I would like to welcome more creativity in my life. I would like to make space for more of that. I think that with everybody and what everyone has gone through this year, we've had to like reinvent ourselves and what we do and how we do it probably a million times. And that can be, I think, really exhausting. We get lost in sort of the minutia of doing that. And I am a really creative person, even though I'm a really nerdy person, which often go against one another. But I would just really like to have more time to really think and be creative about the stuff that I do, as opposed to just rapid fire doing it all the time, which is kind of what the last 9 months have been. So yeah, creativity would be nice.
Awesome. I love that. I'll support you in that. Corey, what about you?
I was going to say hugs too. This is exactly how I show affection to people. I'm always like, people I don't even know, I'm just hugging them. Like ladies in the grocery store, I don't know. But if I see this one more time, I'm just like, I'm so over it. Like, it's just like this, like, stop it. I love being on Zoom, but I just really would like to see people.
Totally fair. Thank you. Jared, what about you?
Travel for sure. I used to always use those trips and events and whatnot as these sort of mile markers as you progress through the year, and use those as sort of a start and finish for lots of different projects and initiatives and whatnot. So that definitely, but also like taking a step back too and trying to capture like some of the perspective of this past year. We've done a lot, and we've been creative in many different ways, and trying to capture the things from that period that can probably help us grow as an industry, even as things settle back into normal, whatever that's going to look like. I think some of these innovations and whatnot may be here to stay. So
cool. Chelsea, what about you?
Kind of piggybacking on a bunch of people's different answers, but I think we've all realized this year that time is precious. And I've had a lot of challenges with like setting my work-life balance. And so I'm wishing for 2021 for more healthy boundaries for everyone.
Love that. Benny.
Yeah, definitely going to piggyback off everyone. I need the high fives back, the hugs, the dancing, sitting at bars, getting on an airplane. I mean, I miss all of that. But I think definitely 21, we need to continue the learning and growing and being more inclusive. And I'm definitely going to be focusing a lot of my energy on that type of stuff.
Nice. Bruce, what about you?
I'm looking for more family next year, both in the industry, because a lot of the events that I think we normally go to, we take for granted, like Tails or Bar Convent or Camp or RBTV. And there's usually a few people every year that, you really connect with and do kind of become your family. And then also my brother's going to have a baby in March. And so I'm going to be an uncle for the first time. Yeah. And there's going to be an awesome little Mrs. Russell running around, the distillery, hopefully, Naomi, and Miss Russell will be awesome. And I'm very excited to watch her, grow up and stuff. So more family next year. Yeah.
That's so exciting. Yay. That's great. And congratulations. Being an uncle, being an aunt is the greatest job in the world. So I'm very excited for you.
Yeah, I can help raise her and, teach her every terrible thing I know and then just give her back to my brother. It's going to be awesome.
See, us parents don't like uncles and aunts like you.
I think my thing I'm trying to welcome in more the word that comes up is gentleness. I think a lot of, like, to Jessamyn's point, a lot of what we were doing was like rapid fire, running to the flames, working so hard, pushing really hard. And I think in those moments, I've also forgotten to be gentle. And so working on that and welcoming that in is my goal. We'll see how it goes. I'm not really a gentle person. We'll see. So that is going to wrap us up. We're at 1 hour. I want to thank you all for being part of both this panel today, but also for being part of a year's worth of hard work, of creativity, of innovation, of prep work, and contributing to the industry. I mean, all of you, you three, our special guests today, did so much on your Portland Cocktail Week seminars and the seminars that you offered, but you also gave so much on your social media. You gave so much, coaching over the phone to people. I'm sure you've gotten a million phone calls and DMs from people being like, how do I do what you're doing? So I know that you've been really offering a lot. So thank you so much to the three of you and to all of our instructors in the Portland Cocktail Week distance learning program with the Campari community. Thank you to all of you for everything you're doing to support our industry, to keep us present, to keep us connected, to keep us working. So much of this year has just been about showing up. It's just showing up. It's showing up and keeping the process going, and working towards a future where we get to actually be together in person. And to my team, my incredible team that I get to work with every day, all of you, thank you so much for offering what you've given this year, for pivoting so quickly, for becoming TV, Instagram hosts, with a moment's notice, for coming up with great content ideas, and for really giving yourselves and offering to help in every way that you could imagine. It's been so inspirational to work with all of you. I'm so proud that I get to work with you. That we're part of the same team is really a blessing. And to Marie Christopherson, who's not on here, but who's definitely been leading the charge as well with us, and working with us to guide this partnership with Portland Cocktail Week. Thank you, Marie, for everything you've done to make this happen. If you watching want more distance learning classes like this one, follow Portland Cocktail Week on Facebook. All of our 2020 classes are archived there. So everything that Portland Cocktail Week has done is archived. You can go check out those really great classes with Jared or Chelsea or Janae. You can check out Josh Seberg's class. You can look at directional freezing and become as obsessed as Corey is about making great ice cubes. There's a ton of wealth of information there. You can always go back and check it out. We are on Instagram. We're all on Instagram, and you can always find all of us, but also Portland Cocktail Week is always promoting what they're up to on Instagram. We also have Instagram for the Campari community and the Campari Academy. So if you're looking to learn some more about our brands, about our programs, please go check us out and give us a follow. And we're posting these videos to YouTube as well. So if you're not on Facebook, or people aren't on Facebook are looking to learn, please send them to youtube.com/PDXCW. And I already said this. Follow Campari Community and Campari Academy for all the news and updates. Everyone, thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for being part of this. I wish you a very happy holidays, a happy solstice, a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and the most happy of New Year's. We'll be back with you in the new year. Take care, guys.
Bye. Cheers, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.